Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we're going to be going from Las Vegas over to Los Angeles International. We're using Los Angeles International again to solve some of the issues that some people are still experiencing with certain features from the guide. So I'm going to be using this flight to also add some data to the A320 guide, which you guys can find by going through the description below. You can either join the Patreon site for $10 or more, so it's tier 2 or above, or you can simply send a donation via PayPal for $10 or more, and I will send you a guide. Once again, to all PayPal purchasers, just keep in mind when you acquire the guide via donation from PayPal, it's me who is manually sending them out to you. So just like everyone else, job, work, family, etc., things like that do get in the way sometimes, and so there may be some delays before I actually get the guide out to you. Typically I have it out to you within an hour of purchase. However, sometimes it can be a little extended, especially in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping. I am on Arizona time in the US, so that's Mountain Standard Time. You can use Pacific Standard if makes it simple. But anyway, so I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Also, to PayPal users, when I send you the email with the link to the download, please make sure you save that link, because any future updates, that same link will be used. And that way, when I let you know, hey guys, there's a new version out, you guys can simply just click on that link again and download the latest release of the guide. Excuse me. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump in the aircraft. There's some new features and things we're going to take a look at. So let's jump on board here. All right, so just as always, we're going to go ahead and get the aircraft started up and ready to roll. So we're going to start with our batteries. Let's go ahead and set my air vents here, get them ready to go. Let's get the ADIRs online here. Switch to external power. We're not going to worry about the fuel pumps yet because we need to fuel the aircraft yet. But we can go ahead and do the crew oxygen supply, get our wing lights on. Let me turn that volume down. And get the nav and logo lights on. Seatbelt signs, we'll make sure they're on and ready for our passengers. Same with the non-smoking signs. And get the emergency exit lights armed. Alright. Now let's go ahead and step down a bit here. Let's get our screens tuned the way we like for a nice day flight. It's early morning. Let's see. Come on. Why are you fighting me here? There we go. I guess that's better. I have noticed in the last couple released, the standby ADI no longer functions. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Hopefully that's something that gets resolved. What am I looking for? Ecam. There we go. Let's get the Ecam pages up. Let's get that Copilot seat up. Whoa, I'm not sure what the lag is about all of a sudden. That's new. There we go. Alright, and we are using the new Fly Tampa Las Vegas Scenery Edition, which is absolutely fantastic. That might be causing some of the stuttering. And actually, you know what? Give me just a second. I might know what's going on. Oh, no, I thought that was going to solve our problem, but it didn't. Anyway, let's go ahead and just keep on moving through here. That was the guide zipping down. Alright. As usual, let's go ahead and start setting up our aircraft here. So a couple of things that I'm going to change here. We're going to go to options. Oh, it looks like it's already set. Is the weight units is set to pounds. I have my alignment time for the IRS set to instant. I hate waiting for alignments. And we'll be going over these later on. I'm not going to worry about them today. Initial heading barometric and heading. Huh, interesting. Barometric pressure. Alright, inches is what that is. Alright, cool. Anyway, let's get ahead and get out of here. Oops. And let's get to the FMC. Alright, let's get to the initial page, and we are going from KLAS to KLA. Come on. X. There we go. Our flight number today is going to be American Airlines 2032. Our alternate is still K Ontario. Cost index today, we're going to be doing 54. And our cruise altitude is 24,000 feet. Let's get to the flight plan. We're departing from KLAS. And let's get to our routing and see what information we have here. We're going to be departing from runway 19 left. Okay, and we're going to be using the Boach 8. Let's see if we have a transition. It's going to be Ricky. And let's insert. All right. Scroll on down. So from Ricky, we are going direct to Sierra Hotel Tango November Romeo. And we're just going to put that. Oops. No, right there. Oh, come on, kill me. Scroll up. Now we have to find this one. Oh, you wiped out my board here. Sierra Hotel Tango November Romeo. Put that there. There we go. And we'll just wait a second. The decel should drop down. Boom. There it goes. And we'll go ahead and hit insert. Now we're going to check out our arrivals. And our arrivals today, we're going to be coming in on 25 left again. So we're using the same runway we've been using. But we're going to be using the Angel 4. And let's see what our transition point is. So let's go ahead and bring Navigraph up today. Let's find KLAX. Let's check out our approaches. Actually, we want the star, excuse me. And there's the Angel 4. And our transition looks like Angel. Oh, no, excuse me. It's going to be the Cirrus. This guy right here. There we go. And let's find out what the and we're coming off this one here. That's interesting. What happened? Didn't like that. Let's try that again. 25 left. Angel 4. Cirrus. There we go. Okay, so just make sure you enter it again. That was kind of weird. Anyway, so this is accurate. This is what we're doing. So we're going from Sierra Hotel, Tango November Romeo, over to the Angel 4, using the, looks like Circus, via onto the ILS 25 left approach, which we have done multiple times. So let's go ahead and enter that in. Let's check out our flight plan. Everything's good. No issues there. Now, I am trying to get the discontinuities resolved. My problem is I have yet to be able to create a discontinuity. So, guys, if you have any tips below on how to force a discontinuity into the MCDU so I can show you guys how to fix it, let me know, because that I don't know how to do. I understand what it is. But I have yet to run a flight plan, and I've been flying all over the place lately, just, you know, trying to test different things out. Well, I wouldn't say I've been flying all over the place. I'd say that I've entered a bunch of different flight plans looking for a discon, and haven't seen any. So I don't know if that's just the nav data because it's up to date or what's going on there. But if you guys know how to force one, let me know in the comments below, because I'd really like to get that into the documentation. Okay? All right, so we got that part done. Let's go ahead and move forward here. So flight plan is all set. Let's go to the initial phase B. And now we need to set up our weights and balances before we can do this. So let's go ahead and jump in here. And we're going to switch to pounds. And this is where things get nice now. Go back to our sim brief. And we are looking at a block fuel of 11,801 pounds. So currently fuel, we're going to set this down to, let's start there. Oh, close. So there's 11,000. All right, so we're about 500 pounds shy. All right, there. And now we're about 100 pounds shy. Well, 50 pounds shy. So let's do this. Let's just make this Again, I don't fly right down to the T. I just get it close. 803. We're looking for 801. So we got it. All right. So now let's check our payload. And we're looking for 41.3 thousand pounds. So we're heavy today, but light on the fuel. Well, we're a little heavy. I wouldn't say we're ridiculous, but we're heavy. Payload. There's 40,000. All right, there we go. 41, and we're looking for 41.3. So here's what we'll do here. Let's go to our baggage. And we're pretty far up, so I'm going to take... what would this be? 5,000 pounds? Let's take 5,000 pounds, throw it in the back here. Move the luggage to the rear. There we go. And then we still need to add 100 pounds, so we can put that back up front. 41,000. What do we need? 300 pounds. We need to add 200 pounds. So let's make this 300. It's 41,219. So let's make that 400. 319. There we go. So 41,319. We're looking for 41.3. So got it with a nice good center of gravity. 29.01 on the on our Mac, which is our center of gravity. All right. So we're all set here. So we can close here now. And now we can set our aircraft weight. 131,000 pounds. Block fuel. We can just pick what we entered up here. So 11.6. Is that right? 11.6? Why does that sound like? I know it's close. I thought it was like 11.8. It is 11.8. We have to call a refueling truck. That's why. Alright, so let's fuel the aircraft. Let me see if that truck's actually going to show up for us. Oops. How did I lose my jetway? I'm not sure why the jetway disconnected there. That was a little odd. Alright, and let's see if we can get our fuel going. I've actually had an issue lately where my fuel truck never shows up. I'm not sure what's going on there. So let's try ATC. God help me. Let's see, let's do ground surfaces. It's going to make me tune ground. And let's try request fuel supply. No fuel truck is available. Okay, well, that's new. Alright, well, let's get into the cockpit, I guess. Huh. Alright, 11.6 isn't going to cut it, so let's do this. Let's double check our fuel, make sure we had it entered in there correct. It says 11.8. Alright, well, I mean, we have plenty of gas, so I'm not too concerned with it. 11.6 is more than enough to get there, but I'm just kind of curious why that's not updating and why I don't have a fuel truck. But I guess we'll find out later. So let's go 11.6. We're only going to enter what's actually in the aircraft. And then we'll give it a second to do its calculations. And there we go. We can move on. So the only difference is because we can't get our takeoff weight. Well, actually I can get my takeoff weight from SimBrief. We can get close. But we'll just use Toga today for our takeoff. We're not going to worry about the flex temp today. And then we'll do 18,000 feet for our transition. Set our V speeds. 137. Up in the box in case we need it. Set our target speed. We want V2 plus 10. So looking for 147. Set our initial altitude up for 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and throw the flight constraints on and the flight directors on. Set our distance to about 20 miles for departure. Auto brakes to max in the event of a rejected takeoff. And let's go ahead and go up top and start the fuel pumps and APU. Okay, and let's get the beacon light started, letting people know we're getting ready to start the engines. All right, so at this point, we're pretty much just waiting for the APU to start up. Let's go back in here for a minute. See if that initial B page resolved itself. It did not. Man, it doesn't like whatever happened there. I broke it. I broke it, boss. I'm sorry. I totally did, too. Wonder what happened. Alright, note to self. Leave that alone for a couple of days. Alright, let's see here. What else we got here? Let's go back to the back. Let's set our simulated transponder. We've been told to go with 0, 2, 4, 1. There we go. That's our transponder. Set that over to auto or on. Let's go ahead and lock the cabin door. All passengers have been boarded. Let's go ahead and get rid of the jetway. Ooh, you are really not happy with me right now. Is it because I used ATC? Gosh, I hope that's not, because I really hate this thing. There it goes. Well, at least that worked. Alright. Pushback helper seems to be having a couple of issues since the latest update. Hopefully that gets updated, because I really like that add-on. Yeah, I really broke something there, didn't I? Hope that doesn't affect everything else later. Guess we'll find out. Alright. So let's go ahead and go straight back. And that's good. That's still working. Oop. Alright, and we can see nose wheel steering has been disengaged. That simulates he's hooked up. TCAS on standby. APU bleed is set. Let's go ahead and get these engines rolling. So we're going to go ahead and start on 2. Whoa, laggage. Like I said, I don't know what that's about. Honestly, it's a new development. There's our pushback. It may be this new scenery. It's the only thing that's changed since the last time I flew out of here is the scenery. So we'll see. I may have to adjust some graphic settings now because this is pretty. I mean, the scenery for Vegas that's a massive difference from the default. Massive difference. If you guys check out my previous video, I sort of display that the strip looks amazing. Absolutely fantastic. I love the way the strip looks now. Let's go ahead and get back up front. Something doesn't look right here. Oh, well, okay, so I should have pushed back a little further, but that's alright. And let's go ahead and stop the pushback. Set our parking brake. Oof. Okay, he's done there. Let's go ahead and get engine 1 going. Go ahead and set flaps 1 here. I do wish they toned down the heat blur. Is that a setting? Has anyone checked? I haven't checked. The heat blur is a little ridiculous. We got motion blur, lens correction, lens flare. Ambient reflections, occlusion, contact shadows. Yeah, guess not. Alright. Figured it was worth a look. It's not bad, it's just a little intense. It really is a little intense. Cool. Go ahead and get back up here. Check things out. Arm the spoilers. Oh, really? Come on, man. Didn't even move the darn thing. Alright, TCAS on. Predictive wind shear on. Weather radar, your preference. I don't particularly like the weather radar. Makes things harder to see on the nav display. I'm trying to get my camera set up right here. Oh, jeez. Let's release the parking brake. There we go. And let's get out of here. Alright, we're ready to get out of here. Let's go ahead and come up top. Oh, wrong one. There we go. And we're going to switch the APU bleed on to switch the power over to the APU. Give it a second. Now we'll switch to external, or turn the external power off. And let's go ahead and get this beautiful bird started. So let's go ahead and try our pushback. I'm going to give it a shot here. Now I'm going to check my Navigraph and see where we're wanting to go. So let's go to LAS. Find our taxi information, airport info. And let's have it track the aircraft. Give it a second. Should tell us where we are. There we are. Oh, mercy. And we have to take off from 19er left. This is a huge taxi. Ugh. Okay. Okay, that really sucks. That's a long taxi. We have to go all the way around. All right, guys. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll go ahead and get the aircraft pushed back, get the engine started. We'll start to taxi, but I'll cut out most of that for you guys because at some point it's just going to be boring watching a plane taxi for 4.5 miles. That is a brutal taxi. Boring. All right, let's keep going. Crap. All right. All right. Sign it up, get on our taxiway here. And then we start our very long journey over to runway 19er left. Very long runway, or very long journey. Alright guys, so as I said, this is really it. So I'll go ahead and throw a side wing view on here for a minute so you guys can sort of see the scenery around Las Vegas. If you guys are interested in picking this up, again, this is Fly Tampa's latest release for Las Vegas. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that little scenic view there. Definitely did everything but grab donuts and fuel, so well, I guess technically we did grab fuel, but that was one heck of a long taxi. But look at this way, you guys got to see guys got to see everything. And then look at the strip, guys. So just from here, let's go ahead and pause just for a second. I'll hold here for a second. Look at here compared to the default view. I mean, this looks fantastic, or the default scenery. Even with the latest USA update, and I know Las Vegas was on that list. I did a showcase of the differences. Took me 2 videos to do it because I did it wrong, but you know, who's counting? But I can tell you that in comparison to the default scenery, because I know everyone's probably wondering, well, why would I want that if they just updated it? They look nothing alike. I mean, this is absolutely so much better, and that's probably why I'm catching a little bit of a frame rate hit right now. And it's probably something that needs to be optimized, you know, in defense of both simulator and Fly Tampa, you know. But I mean, those are the things that come with time, right? But the visual quality of Las Vegas is fantastic. I mean, this looks great in my opinion. I've been to Vegas. I love Vegas. It's a gorgeous city. This looks absolutely fantastic. The billboards, I mean, look at the detail down there. I mean, so anyway, $19.99, guys, flytampa.com. Where is he going? Where'd he go? Okay, all right, we're pulling back up now. All right, sorry, I was curious, guys. I had to know, you know, if he was going to try to land on the strip or something. Get some early gambling in. Anyway, let's go ahead and get set up for takeoff. Alright, so getting the cabin ready for takeoff. Let's go ahead and come up top here. First thing we're going to do is actually shut our APU off. That'd be helpful. We don't need that on anymore. Same thing with coming down here. Let's set our master switch over to norm. And coming back up top, we need to make sure we bring our strobe light on to auto or on. Take our landing lights, bring them up, runway turn-off lights if required, and nose wheel light. Should have already been to taxi, my fault. Apparently I'm slacking this morning, but set the nose wheel light to takeoff. And let's do another quick check since clearly I'm not on my game this morning. Make sure I didn't miss anything else. Alright, we're going to be using Toga today, so no real concerns there. Let's go ahead and set takeoff configuration and chime the cabin. And we're ready to roll. Flaps 1 has been set. Auto brakes are set. And we're going to do just a power and roll today. Oh, maybe not. Hold still 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I had a quick thing I had to take care of. By the way, just so you guys know, my understanding is, now typically with most runways, you want to take off past the piano case, right? We actually roll up forward and then take off. But as long as you have these arrows, my understanding is you're good to take off from beyond that point. All right, so let's go ahead and first set our 50%-ish. Make sure we're stabilized. We're good to go. Put them forward. Bring that nose down pressure until we clear about 90 knots, 80, 90 knots. Trying to maintain that center line, but I'm a really bad pilot, so there's no telling if that's going to happen. Okay, pulling that, letting that nose pressure off. Even the runway looks great. Approaching V1. There's V1. Start rotating. V2. Positive rate gear up. Which it did not follow. What's going on here? There we go. Alright. That was weird. Apparently I was clicked off screen. I didn't think I was. Alright, let's try to follow our flight directors here. Approaching flap speeds. Let's go ahead and get flaps up. Waiting for our thrust reduction altitude. Pull those thrust levers back into the climb position. Let's go ahead and set the autopilot. Autopilot has control. Thrust levers to climb. And we're out of here. Yeah, it must have been the airport causing some of that lag, because it's steady and clean since then. Which is okay. Again, I'm really not upset by that. I think it just released either yesterday or the day before, so it's, you know, just like anything else. You gotta optimize it, you gotta find bugs. I'm not complaining about that at all. Every computer performs differently. That's why some of you guys see bugs that I don't, I see bugs that you don't. It's just the nature of the beast when you're dealing with electronics, so. I don't know if I can get us to a view or we can... Yeah, not really. You can kind of see it out there, I guess, but... Let's get back up front. Alright, we're approaching our altitude. Let's see what we got on the constraints today. I'll try to somewhat behave. 5,900 feet. Looking at above 13,000, so let's go ahead and set it to 15,000 here. We'll start our climb out. Alright, so we got 15,000 in the box, and we're back into climb mode because we hadn't actually reached our target altitude. As long as you catch it, I would say about 1,000 feet before you're actually supposed to hit it, give or take. As long as you adjust your altitude between 1,000 feet-ish and 500 feet-ish. I've noticed, I don't know what the exact number is, but I've noticed as long as you catch it early and you adjust your altitude, it'll put the aircraft back into climb mode. So that makes it kind of nice. And you know what else I didn't do? And I forget this every time. I didn't start the chronometer. So we'll go ahead and start now for posterity's sake, just to say we're cool kids. But totally my fault. Now we are clear of 10,000 feet, so we can shut our lights off. Like I said, I'm just not with it today, man. I'm letting you guys down here. Letting you guys down here. At this point, we're just sort of just waiting until we pass through 18,000 feet. Once we do that, we'll switch our altimeters back over to the standard pressure, 299 Just doing one last double check, make sure I didn't miss anything else. At least everything I've missed so far has been small. Nothing game breaking. Above 13,000 feet, now we're looking for 21,000 feet, so I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and just throw our cruise up. Oops. There you go. And see, like this time I did not catch it fast enough, it doesn't look like, which is weird because I'm 1,000 feet before, but yeah, it is not switching over, so we'll go ahead and make sure we have an up arrow. We want the computer to manage the climb. Give it a click, and we're back in the climb. So it's up is push, down is pull, so we pushed the knob in. We're climbing very quickly today, which I'm all for. Oh. Ooh, what do we have here? I'll have to go find that out. I don't know if you guys are on FS Elite. Just go to fselite.net. Really great place for great place for news. They're talking about an actual 737 experience. So check this out. You guys can sort of just read the top of it here. Feel free to pause the simulator. Now for the next page. Anyway, check them out here at FS Elite. You guys will like it. It's where I get a lot of my news from. They're really on it. I wish I had some of their context. And we passed through 19,000 feet. So we're going to click the down arrow, put us into standard. Now it's just a nice flight up to cruise altitude. So everything's pretty simple from here until we reach our top of descent. So let's try to figure out when our top of descent is going to be. So I'm going to break this up here. So we're still 160 miles out easily. So we got a bit to go. We got a ways to go here. Probably should have climbed a bit higher, honestly, for this flight. Sort of wasn't thinking about how far it was. Well, I don't know. It's only 240 miles. 230-ish. It's not too bad. I guess our altitude's okay for that. So we'll set it to 80 here. We've got quite a bit until we get to our descent. Just so you guys understand, I do not make any changes in between recordings. If I make any change, even if it's a quick 4-second little snapshot, I put it into the video. I have no changes planned. We are all configured. We're exactly where I need us to be. We can disarm the spoilers here. Just do a quick sweep. Flaps are up. Engines are set to norm. Overhead panel should be cut and clear. Oh, turn off lights. And we're already approaching our cruise altitude, so we can't even turn our seatbelt signs off. Alright, so I'll come back to you guys when we get closer to the descent. Alright? Alright guys, so unfortunately I stepped away for a little bit too long, so you guys are going to get to see a panic descent here. We're about 50 miles from touchdown, so it's time to get this altitude down. So we're going to crank it down here, and we're going to go straight into an open descent, which follows the airspeed versus the vertical profile. We also need to enter in our destination here, so stay with me guys. It's going to happen pretty quick here. So we need to go to our performance page, and we need to find the approach phase. There we go. And now we need our MEDAR data. So let's go ahead and bring up our flight plan again. What did I do with it? Oh, I think I closed it. Alright, so I guess we're not going to use that. Let's just do a Google search for KLAS MEDAR and pull up the first link that pops up. And here's where we got. So we got our altimeter at 3015. So let's go ahead and give that a click. 3015. Temperature is looking at 20. Yes, I know we need to enter the destination data. Winds, let's see what our winds are. Variable wind direction at 3 knots. Interesting. Alright, so we need to go, we're going to go for, I guess, 0 at, you know, we can just do 0 for 0. Well, let's see if it'll do 0 for 3. So we're going to try that. Transition altitude, always 18,000 feet in the U.S. Our approach speed is going to be 134 knots. Let's find our decision height. So we need to get back over here and get into KLAX. Let's find the approach plate, and we're going to be looking for 25 left today. We're using the ILS. And looking over here, we need to find our category 2. So let's see here. We're looking at 100 feet, so 204 feet. Right? Let's see here. Cat 1. Sorry, 304 feet is what we're going to be looking at. Is that right? Yep, because this is glide slope out. So that would be, so it'd be 304. So let's do 304 feet as our decision height. 304. Throw that in the decision height, and boom, we're ready to go. Okay, and the approach phase will automatically activate once we hit our decel point, which we're getting close to. So let's go ahead and zoom this down. We're into 40 miles. Goodness gracious, we need to climb faster. So I'm going to go into, what are we set to right now? 22. So I'll tell you what, we're going to get our speed down to 200 knots. So I'm going to go ahead and force that, give that a click here, throttle that back to 200 knots. We're going to get our descent down faster. So we're going to do 3,000 feet per minute for right now to start. Let's do that and give it a click. Alright, you can see our glide slope has now changed. We're going to slow the aircraft down by adding some spoilers for the speed brakes. And see if we can't save this. This is going to be close. We are really, really high. I mean, we're supposed to be down at 3,600. 20 miles out, 18,000 feet. Let's go ahead and set our altimeter back, and that altimeter was 3015. There's no way we're going to make that. We're going to spin it, guys. Alright, so let's go ahead and set our heading, and what we're going to do is just do a quick spin around. So let's go ahead and get her turning. Come on, baby, I need you to start turning. There she goes. Alright. And we'll be coming back. We got to descend first. So lesson learned there, guys. That's how you sort of correct that, and you got to be honest with yourself. Don't try to force it. Don't disengage the autopilot and point the nose down, because what will happen there is you're going to accelerate like a bat out of hell, and then you're going to find yourself way too fast and overshooting the runway anyway. We have plenty of fuel, so we'll just take a quick spin, do a quick circle, get our altitude down, and then line back up for the approach. It's not hard at all. Let's check our navigation information, make sure that we're set up correctly. So we're looking for the ILAX frequency, looks good. And actually, they just added the name there, that's nice. And we're looking for 109.9. Let's verify that's what we have here. 109.9, final heading 251 degrees. So we're looking good there. Let's go ahead and get back to the flight plan here. And actually, we can really set the performance page. And we'll just get our altitude under control, be set to go. Let's go ahead and turn our lights back on as well. Believe it or not, of all things, what caused me to fall behind here, we want taxi on the nose wheel light, by the way, for landing, but followed me behind me was I was watching Tangled with my family. They're watching it for the little girls that we have, and I got wrapped up watching a kids movie. Whoops! And came back, and yeah, 50 miles from the touchdown point at 24,000 feet. Cruising at 300 knots, so my bad. Let's see, so we're still at 280 knots, and that makes sense because of how fast we're descending. We're just going to sort of have to ride that out for a minute. We can't do flaps 1 till we reach about 230 knots, so got to sort of hold off for a bit. But we're looking good. It's a good spin so far. Let's keep rotating us around, get us back on our flight plan here. Almost flying the reciprocal. So we don't get too low around these mountain ranges. Alright, passing through 10,000 feet. Just about where we're wanting to be. Let's keep spinning it. And I'm going to reduce the descent rate now. Oh. Set it to about 1,800. At this point, the aircraft will start slowing down, which is good. And we're looking for 8,000 here, so we're right about where we need to be. This is looking good. This is a good fix. Keep spinning it back to our heading. So I'm going to spin all the way back over to 251 degrees for our final approach heading. And it's not going to be perfect, but then we can activate the localizer and get it to line us up. And I'll show you guys what that looks like here in just a minute. So we're crossing through. It seems really dim. 9,800, 8,000, so we're going to be falling right on point here. Let's go ahead and arrest the descent, put it back into manage mode. Excellent. Alright, and we are back on track. A little low actually now, so that worked out. But we only have an altitude restriction of 5,000 feet, so we're doing okay. Alright, so now that we have our altitude under control, we've resolved a few issues here. Let's go ahead and start focusing on speed and the approach. So we're looking for 7,000 feet by fueler. We're a little bit ahead, so the nice thing is where we're at here is we can go ahead and activate the LS frequency, or the LS acquisition mode. And we may be still a little far out to see that. We are. That's okay. And so I'm actually going to set our altitude here for 5,000. Let's put the autopilot back into managed mode, so you can see that I didn't up-click or push on the heading knob. You can see our next waypoint is gate. There's gate right here, and we're now going to line back up to the flight plan. So we're right back where we need to be. And again, don't hesitate, guys, to make the corrections that you need to make. Okay, don't wait. Don't ask yourself, you know, I mean, I gave myself about 15 seconds, was looking at the descent rate, was looking at how far we had to go, and I knew there was no way we were going to make it. Okay, we were going to overshoot that runway by a lot. So, you know, do what you got to do, especially if you're not using ATC. If you are using ATC, you know, I mean, they would have guided you in, and hopefully you wouldn't have walked away to watch Rapunzel or Tangled. So, you know, let's go ahead and get those speed brakes up, is what I just did there, and armed them. And you can see we're down to about 220 knots. Remember, below 10,000 feet, we're restricted to under 250 knots. So I'm just getting us down closer to the approach speed. All right, so now you can see we've dropped our first stage of flaps at 230 knots. Green dot indicates we need to drop the flaps in order to maneuver while at that speed. So we're going to do flaps 1. A little early, but not bad. We can ride that out. Again, some of that has to do with how low we are. We are a little low now, truth be told. We got LAX about 25 miles out. We've just picked up the ILS information. You can see the glide slope there. Now, the nice thing is with the, or not the glide slope, excuse me, the localizer. With the localizer active, we can actually press the localizer button because it's been acquired, and the aircraft will now stray over onto it. Now, Cat 3 indicates that we have our lateral navigation, but we don't have our horizontal, or a vertical, excuse me. I don't think Autopilot 2 works yet. Ooh, interesting. I'll have to do some research on that. Alright, so we're inside 20 miles to LAX. Alright, so with the ILS frequency now active, the localizer is now active, let's go ahead and put it into approach mode. And so at this point, it will start looking for the glide slope, which you can see here. Now, it's important to remember, when it's in blue, we have not acquired the glide slope yet. Okay, so that's very important to remember. We do not have vertical navigation yet. But if you notice, the aircraft's going to hold steady because of our altitude restriction, which is fine. But then at the point that we acquire the glide slope, it should automatically start descending. If it doesn't, we'll just force it to start descending until it catches the glide slope and we see it turn green. Okay? And I'll show you guys everything as it comes into play here. Wind effect on the aircraft is looking pretty good too. Yeah, that heat blur is just a little strong. Let's get back up top. Alright, so we're inside 15 miles. Glide slope coming down. And if it descends much further, nope, glide slope locked. Alright, so you can see I didn't make any changes to the aircraft. As soon as the glide slope came down, the aircraft acquired it. Okay, and that's with the approach mode active. So the steps that I use, I activate my ILS acquisition at about 25 miles, give or take. Okay, Once I see the localizer active down here, then I'll activate the localizer. Once we see a green lock here, and I know that we're on the localizer, I will activate the approach mode. And then once we get the vertical, the glide slope indicator here, I'll just sort of lock the aircraft into an altitude as long as it's above our current altitude. So remember, if the diamond is up here, we're below the glide slope. If the diamond is over here, we're in the opposite. We're above the glide slope and we need to descend faster to catch it. All right. So let's see where we're going here. So we're approaching 10 miles. So I'm going to go ahead and set us down here. We're already at flaps 1, which is good. Let's go ahead and set auto brakes to low. We got tons of runway. Honestly, we probably don't even have to use the auto brake. We're still fairly light. We got tons of fuel on board. I'm going to have to remember, I forgot to set it. So one of the things you can do in SimBrief is basically tell it, hey, you always give me too much gas. Whatever gas you think I'm going to use, take this much off of it. And normally I do that, and today I forgot. Let's see here. Let's check everything else. Let's go ahead and chime the cabin. And let's turn those seatbelt signs back on. They should have been on a long time ago, especially with that dramatic descent. I sort of forgot to turn them off. And this is probably why you have a checklist and you have a co-pilot. This would make perfect sense. Alright, so we're approaching 8 miles now. And with the approach mode on, we should automatically be looking to target our approach speed. So I'm going to go ahead and go flaps 2. How can we be in an overspeed? Because I'm not in manage mode. Let's try that now. So I had to do a push on the speed knob. You can see we went into manage mode, and now we have our target approach speed down here. So that was my fault again. I'm really glad you guys are seeing all these mistakes, because I think these are actually very helpful pieces of information on how to fix them. Okay, so let's see here. We are now at about 7.5 miles. We're down to about 180 knots. At the next step here, we can go ahead and go flaps 3. Oh, no, I was still going too fast. Oops. Oh, well. We can drop the gear, which will help put some drag on the aircraft. And now we can go ahead and go flaps full. Yes, this time I waited till we were actually slow enough to do it. At this point, we're just going to let the aircraft walk itself in until we get a little bit closer. Set my thrust levers back to the idle position because I'm getting ready to take them over. And you can see we're still maintaining our speed because we're in auto throttle. Let's set our missed approach altitude just in case. Alright, 100 above. Let's go ahead and disengage that autopilot, disengage the auto throttle, and flight directors, and fly her in.
300, 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20.
Start our flare.
10,
That approach speed was very clearly a little conservative.
5,
We're floating. There we go. Thrust reverses out. All right. All right, let's hold here. First thing we're going to do is get our flaps up. Speed brakes are disarmed, blah, blah, blah. Let's change our lights here. Strobe light off. Turn off lights off. Nose wheel light still to taxi. And we are good to park. Now we can stop the chronometer. Now again, at this point, obviously, if you're using ATC, you'll follow their instructions. We've been given permission to cross the runway here. Today we got lucky. Our parking spot is dead ahead here. Oops. And that was a horrible approach to the parking spot. Fail on my part again. I'm telling you, I'm on a roll today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the comic relief here. This is a terrible taxiing job. So we should have followed the taxi line. Duh. Yeah, let's go ahead and park over here today. That's safe. Something tells me I'm not up far enough. It just sucks. There's no way to do this without going to the external. I was really trying to avoid the external view. Alright, close enough. Looks like it caught it at least. Alright. Alright, so let's shut this calamity down because this was an interesting one today. So we're just going to come up top, and we should have done this before we left the runway, but we'll start our APU. And actually, we really don't need the APU. Disregard that today. We're going to use external power. Once external power has taken over, let's kill the beacon light. Let's go ahead and come down here and turn off the engines. TCAS to off or standby. Predictive wind shear off. Transponder can stay in its current. Well, let's go ahead and set it to standby. Let's see if there's anything else we're missing here for today. Altitude constraints you can turn off. Flight directors turn off. Approach mode can be deactivated. Cabin doors are open. Passengers are deboarding. Cockpit door is unlocked. And let's shut the fuel pumps off. And our aircraft is ready for the next flight. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this, at the very least, humorous flight, and hopefully learned a thing or two from it. And I will catch you guys in the next one, as always. If you guys are interested in the A320 guide that I created, please be sure to check out the links in the description below. I'm getting absolutely amazing feedback from it. You guys are doing wonderfully. Everyone seems to be liking it. I haven't heard any complaints about the dock yet, so knock on wood. It's probably sold about, I would say, about 200 copies of it at this point, so I'm really stoked. I appreciate the love and support, guys. Keep it coming, and I will keep the content coming. I'll see you guys in the next one.